And in Ethiopia, I came across this really quite by chance. I found myself in the city of Aksum in Tigray in northern Ethiopia. And there were some strange processions going on and wonderful music and dancing and rituals being performed. And I asked, what's this all about? And they said, well, we have the Ark of the Covenant here. And these ceremonials are in honor of the Ark of the Covenant. And you've got the Ark of the Covenant here? I'd just seen Raiders of the Lost Ark, you know. You've got the Ark of the Covenant here? Where?
For centuries, the Ark of the Covenant has been one of history's greatest mysteries, captivating the imaginations of scholars, adventurers, and believers alike. But now, new claims have surfaced, suggesting that it has been discovered in an ancient Ethiopian cave. From the speculation about it being buried beneath the Temple Mount to reports of it being stolen multiple times, what lies inside could reshape the future of religion as we know it. 1. The Lost Ark. It might sound like something out of an adventure movie, but the Ark of the Covenant isn't just a legend. It's an artifact steeped in 3,000 years of history. This chest, supposedly housing the Ten Commandments, became the centerpiece of many heist stories. Back in 586 BCE, when Nebuchadnezzar and his Babylonian troops raided Jerusalem and laid waste to King Solomon's temple, it was believed they snagged the Ark. But hold up, some think it dodged destruction. Fast forward to the 10th century BCE, and rumors swirl that the Ark didn't end up in Babylonian trophy rooms, but made a great escape to Ethiopia during King Solomon's era. And get this, it might still be there. Even Mussolini's Italy got caught up in Ark fever, scouring Ethiopia for it before W2. So, what's in this legendary chest? It measures 4 feet, 2 inches long, 2 feet, 6 inches wide, and matches in height, crafted from acacia wood and decked out in gold, both inside and out. Topping it off, literally, are 2 cherubs facing each other with a golden crown adding that royal touch. The entire thing is draped in a pure gold cloth known as caporet, making the Ark not just sacred, but a real golden oldie. 2. How Menelik brought the covenant to Ethiopia. It's one thing to be a legendary figure from an ancient tale, and another to be Menelik Wa, the son of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, pulling off one of the most audacious heists in history back around 950 BCE. Menelik, born to Makeda after her famed visit to Jerusalem, hit adulthood and decided it was time to meet Dad. When Menelik was ready to return to Ethiopia, Solomon thought, why not send a replica of the Ark of the Covenant with him? But here's the twist. Solomon had been a bit too influenced by his pagan wives, who introduced idols into the sacred temple. Menelik, smelling trouble and wanting to preserve the real deal, hatched a plan. Under the cover of a boozy night, Menelik and his crew switched the arks. Yep, they took the actual Ark of the Covenant back to Ethiopia, while everyone else was none the wiser. Some say Solomon was in on it, entrusting Menelik with the Ark for safekeeping. Fast forward, the Ark found its new home at the Lake Tana Cherkos Monastery. It stayed there for 800 years before moving to the Church of St. Mary of Zion in Aksum. Today, the Ark is under the tight security of a single monk, the guardian of the Ark, who ensures its secrets are safe from prying eyes. 3. Italy's 20th century ambitions and the Abyssinian campaign. Holding a historical grudge is one thing for a normal country. Still, it's quite another when you're an ambitious Italian dictator with dreams of empire, because you know you're setting the stage for an unforgettable showdown. Flashback to 1896. Ethiopia, a proud nation still free from European clutches, handed Italy a stinging defeat at Adwa. Here, 14,500 Italian troops faced a humiliating rout by a massive force of 80,000 Ethiopians. Fast forward to 1935. Fueled by a thirst for revenge and eager to expand his empire, Mussolini ordered his modernized army into action. On October 3rd, under the command of Field Marshal Rodolfo Graziani, the Italian forces rolled out from their bases in Italian Somaliland and Eritrea, crossing into the rugged terrains of Ethiopia. What ensued was not just a military campaign, but a dramatic chapter in the saga of Italian ambitions in Africa, turning what could have been a page in history into a full-blown spectacle. 4. The Vatican's silent stance. When politics and religion mix, things can get a tad spicy, and not always in a good way. Back in the day, the takeover of Abyssinia, now Ethiopia, stirred up quite the hornet's nest. The League of Nations was up in arms, issuing protests left and right, but one key player seemed unusually quiet: the Vatican. Some whispered that the Holy See might have had its own reasons for keeping mum. The Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church, claiming to be the OG of Christianity, just like the Roman Catholics, wasn't exactly on board with recognizing the Pope as the boss of all Christians. That definitely ruffled some feathers over in Rome. Pope Pius V played it cool, not wanting to rock the boat too much with Catholics around the globe by endorsing Italy's military moves. Yet rumors floated around that Mussolini might have snagged a nod of approval from the Vatican corridors, possibly aiming to bring the Ethiopian Orthodox under Rome's umbrella. While the Pope kept it low-key, others in the Vatican were less reserved. The Archbishop of Tirano didn't hold back, calling the conflict a holy war, a crusade to spread Catholicism in a land of infidels and schismatics. 5. Uncovering the mystery of Aksum's treasures. Ethiopia's history is steeped in legends of sacred relics, none more captivating than the Ark of the Covenant. For years, whispers have circulated that the Ark, an artifact desired by all major religions, rests within the ancient walls of St. Mary's Church in Aksum. Naturally, the Vatican's ears perked up at such claims, pitting them against the Ethiopian Orthodox Church in a silent battle of beliefs. Then, in the 1930s, fascist Italy under Mussolini made moves not just on battlefields, but also in historical heists. Although no documents outright admit it, there are strong hints that Italian forces, perhaps with a nod from the Vatican, were on a mission more Indiana Jones than military conquest. They were after the Ark. While the quest for the Ark remains shrouded in mystery, Italy's fascination with Ethiopian treasures is well documented. They didn't just stop at seeking, they took. The Great Stele of Aksum, a massive obelisk, was uprooted from Ethiopian soil and triumphantly reassembled in Rome. This wasn't just a show of power, it was a declaration. Moving such a gigantic piece was not only an engineering marvel of its time, but a clear signal that cost was no barrier to Italy's imperial ambitions. 6. Safeguarding Ethiopia's sacred relic amidst conflict. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church has a rich tradition of playing hide-and-seek with the Ark of the Covenant. Stationed initially on the Lake Tana Islands for over 800 years, the sacred artifact made a grand move to Aksum in 333. Throughout history, whenever danger loomed, the guardians of the Ark didn't hesitate to shuttle it back to Lake Tana, or even to other hideouts like Gonda, the caves of the Semian Mountains, in Shewa, the Zoe Islands, and more. Adding a twist to the tale, Ethiopian religious officials hinted that the Ark was moved from its resting place in Aksum during the Italian occupation. But here's where it gets really interesting. Amhara tradition asserts that what sits in St. Mary of Zion Church is merely a replica, while the original is tucked away in the Ambesa, the lion mine. However, St. Mary of Zion fires back with claims of possessing the real deal. As the plot thickens, the Italian occupation from 1935 to 1941 was no walk in the park for Ethiopia, with devastating impacts. Over 1 million Ethiopians perished, more than 300 monks, nuns, and clergy were slain, 2,000 churches razed, 525,000 homes destroyed, and a staggering 14 million livestock lost. The burning question remains: were these churches targeted to suppress the Orthodox Church, or in a desperate hunt for the Ark? Official records remain mysteriously silent. 7. Italian fascination with Ethiopia's biblical heritage. In 1936, just as the echoes of Italy's invasion of Abyssinia were beginning to settle, Alessandro Pavolini, who later became Minister of Popular Culture in 1939, made an intriguing voyage to Lake Tana. Why Lake Tana, you ask? Well, this wasn't any sightseeing trip. It was the famed original resting place of the Ark of the Covenant. The lake was reputedly a safe haven for the Ark during times of turmoil. Pavolini's rush to the lake, aboard water landing crafts no less, raises eyebrows. Was he on a quest to uncover the Ark's secrets, getting there before the Italian forces secured the area? That same year, another high-ranking Italian, Galeazzo Ciano, the foreign minister, traveled to Gondar, Ethiopia's second holiest city after Aksum, known not just for its sacred stature, but also for its legends, involving figures like Lilith and Cain. From Hebrew Jewish texts, Gondar's mystical allure is undeniable. Lilith, the first woman created for Adam, and Cain, the wanderer who met her east of Eden, are part of the city's rich tapestry of myths. Such historical and religious significance surely drew Ciano to explore these mystical lands. 8. Pavolini and Ciano's search for King Solomon's mines. Navigating the fine line between official duties and personal ventures can often lead to intriguing stories, especially when it involves figures like Pavolini and Ciano. Their travels, ostensibly for business, sparked whispers of more personal or even mysterious motivations. It turns out these weren't just idle rumors. A startling new angle has surfaced. Their expedition might have been a hunt for the legendary King Solomon's mines. For years, some archaeologists and biblical scholars have speculated that the fabled mines, brimming with untold riches, could be hidden somewhere in East Africa. This theory gained further traction with the publication of Enrico Cernuschi's Il mistero di San Pietro in Ciel d'Oro in the summer of 2010. Cernuschi's work suggests that for the Italians, particularly during their military exploits, locating King Solomon's mines wasn't merely a side quest, but a mission of utmost priority. 9. A myth, shrouded in Ethiopian mystery and legend. Pulling off a grand historical heist sounds thrilling, but when it comes to the legendary Ark of the Covenant, things didn't quite go as planned for the Italians in Aksum. The Ethiopians were steps ahead, boasting not just one, but over 100 arks scattered across the nation. This clever move had the Italians spinning, duped by what seemed like a classic Ethiopian ruse, obscuring the whereabouts of the real Ark, if it ever existed at all. For the Ethiopians, this strategy was a masterstroke in safeguarding their most sacred treasure. Meanwhile, the world is left pondering. Does the Ark of the Covenant, a centerpiece of biblical lore and intrigue, actually exist? Concrete evidence remains elusive, making it one of history's tantalizing mysteries. Though the plot of Raiders of the Lost Ark offers a thrilling cinematic adventure, the real-life Italian endeavors in Abyssinia weave a historical narrative of global powers vying for a piece of legendary treasure. 10. The Aksumite Empire. The Aksumite Empire, shining from the 1st to the 8th centuries CE, wasn't just a powerhouse in the trade networks connecting Africa, the Middle East, and the Mediterranean. It also held one of history's greatest mysteries, the Ark of the Covenant. Nestled in what is now northern Ethiopia, this empire became a central hub, flourishing through its rich trades in gold, ivory, and other treasures. But here's where it gets legendary. It's said that Menelik the fabled son of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, brought the Ark to Aksum for safekeeping. This sacred artifact was reportedly housed in the Church of St. Mary of Zion, embedding itself into the core of the Ethiopian Orthodox faith. The plot thickens with King Ezana's conversion to Christianity in the 4th century, skyrocketing Aksum's religious prestige. Under divine protection, the Ark symbolized more than just historical treasure. It represented a direct lineage to biblical royalty. Despite the best efforts of treasure hunters and even Italian forces during the 1930s, the exact whereabouts of the Ark still evade discovery. 11. The Tale of Mary and Jesus at Lake Tana. Ethiopians have an enchanting tale that places Mary and baby Jesus right in the middle of Lake Tana for 10 days, dodging the dangerous Herod the Great. Legend has it that this divine duo graced an island here, prompting monks to build a shrine, marking where they supposedly rested each day. It's a captivating story, blending history with a touch of mystery. However, here's the twist in the tale. While the Bible confirms that Joseph, Mary, and Jesus did flee to escape Herod's wrath, it distinctly states that their sanctuary was in Egypt. Considering Egypt is a good 1,000 miles northwest of Lake Tana, this geographic hiccup adds an interesting layer to the story. The setting in Ethiopia is quite a stretch from their documented refuge. Despite the distance dilemma, this lore remains a cherished part of Ethiopian heritage, turning an island in Lake Tana into a site of historical wonderment and spiritual pilgrimage. Whether fact or fable, it continues to draw curiosity and reverence, turning what could be a mishap into a memorable and mystical narrative. 12. Egypt's failed plunder. There's a special kind of oops in the annals of history reserved for those who mess up royally, no pun intended. Case in point, the audacious raid on Jerusalem by none other than King Shishak of Egypt. It was during King Rehoboam's reign, with a bustling Jerusalem, when Shishak swooped in, as described in the accounts of 1 Kings 14:25-26 and 2 Chronicles 12:2-9. Shishak plundered treasures from the house of the Lord, but the famed Ark of the Covenant left untouched. Flash forward a few centuries, and we find King Josiah instructing the Levites to stash the Holy Ark back in Solomon's Grand Temple. Clearly, the Ark had a bit of a staycation in Jerusalem, dodging major upheavals, even those under Manasseh, who was busy turning the temple into a home for his own idol. So, why did Shishak miss the ultimate treasure? Two hot takes. Maybe the Ark was playing hide-and-seek behind the Holy of Holies curtain, or perhaps the savvy Levites squirreled it away the invasion. Whatever the case, it stayed put through Josiah's reign, poking holes in any taken to Egypt theories. As thrilling as Indiana Jones makes it, the Egypt theory just doesn't hold up. 13. Eritrean link. There's nothing quite like a good mystery, especially when it's about something as legendary as the Ark of the Covenant. The story gets even more captivating with Eritrea's twist. Sharing a rich history and cultural bonds with Ethiopia, Eritrea also holds the Orthodox religious traditions close to its heart. The real showstopper in both countries is the Tabor, a revered replica of the Ark, which stars in major religious festivals like Timket. Now, imagine the geographic threads connecting Eritrea to Ethiopia's ancient Aksum kingdom. Could the Ark or its replicas have journeyed through or even hidden away in Eritrea's landscapes? While direct evidence hasn't surfaced pinpointing the Ark in Eritrea, the shared reverence for the Tabor in their Orthodox practices hints at a deep cultural resonance. Adding to the intrigue, there's speculation that these sacred objects might have crossed borders during historical upheavals, possibly safeguarding a piece of history shrouded in divine mystery. This not only ties Eritrea and Ethiopia closer together, but also keeps us wondering about the final resting place of the Ark. 14. Failed expeditions. Searching for the Ark of the Covenant is no minor league adventure, especially considering the lengths to which intrepid explorers have gone, often finding themselves the punchline of an ancient historical joke. Among these daring souls, Larry Blazer and his team of Adventist researchers stand out. In the late 20th century, they set out armed with biblical clues to unearth the Ark in the caves near Ein Gedi and the Jordan River. Yet, despite their enthusiasm and meticulous planning, the expedition stumbled as they faced insurmountable governmental and logistical hurdles that kept critical caves out of reach. Not to be outdone, British author Graham Hancock threw his hat in the ring with a well-publicized expedition in Ethiopia, zeroing in on Aksum and Lake Tana. Hancock, fueled by theories that Menelik I had spirited the Ark to Ethiopia centuries ago, combed through ancient sites with zeal. However, his efforts, though surrounded by media buzz, didn't turn up any tangible evidence of the Ark's presence. 15. Professor Ullendorf's view. Professor Edward Ullendorf, a distinguished scholar in Ethiopian studies, found himself in such a spotlight. Back in 1941, amidst the turmoil of World War II, Ullendorf, then a British officer, was granted a rare peek at what was believed to be the Ark in the Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion in Aksum. What he saw, however, was not the storied Ark of biblical lore, but a medieval replica. He noted that this Ark was similar to other religious artifacts seen across Ethiopian churches, pinning it as a creation from the Middle Ages, specifically crafted for the period. not the ancient artifact it was rumored to be. Despite these groundbreaking findings, Ullendorf chose silence over scandal during his lifetime, wary of offending the Ethiopian Orthodox Church or jeopardizing his deep connections within Ethiopia. It wasn't until a 1992 interview with the Los Angeles Times that he publicly voiced his observations, reinforcing that the object in Axum was indeed not the biblical ark. 16. Biblical contradictions. According to age-old Ethiopian law, the ark was spirited away to Ethiopia by Menelik I, who was none other than the son of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. They say he covertly nabbed it from the temple in Jerusalem. But here's where things get tricky. The Bible mentions the ark chilling in the temple during events that happened long after Solomon's era. Take, for example, the biblical passages in 2 Chronicles that spotlight the ark during King Josiah's rule from 640-609 BCE. That's centuries after Menelik's alleged heist to Ethiopia. And then there's 2 Kings, which tells us the ark was still hanging out in the temple right before the Babylonians turned up to wreck the place in 587 BCE. Scholars are tossing around theories left and right. Some suggest that if Menelik took the ark, it shouldn't appear in these later biblical scenes. Others think maybe it was stashed away during temple renovations or invasions, slipping through the historical cracks. 17. Political use. There's a fine line between wielding power and harnessing history for political gain, and nowhere is this more intriguing than in the tales of the Ethiopian Solomonic dynasty. This lineage claims roots back to the legendary King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, notably through their son Menelik I. The saga began in 1270, when this dynastic line took the throne, overthrowing the Zagwe dynasty, not just with military might, but with a storied heritage chronicled in the Kebra Nagast. The Kebra Nagast didn't only serve as a family tree, it asserted that Menelik brought the Ark of the Covenant to Ethiopia, symbolizing the divine approval of the Solomonic rulers. This connection wasn't just about religious symbolism, it was a political masterstroke, boosting the dynasty's standing by aligning them with a revered artifact that resonated deeply across Jewish and Christian law. This narrative didn't just fortify their rule, it rendered them almost untouchable, chosen by the heavens themselves. 18. Portuguese involvement. In the 16th century, the Portuguese weren't just exploring new trade routes, they were deep in the mix of Ethiopian politics and ancient mysteries. One of the standout adventurers was Cristóvão da Gama, a chip off the old block of the famed explorer Vasco da Gama. In 1541, Cristóvão wasn't just sightseeing. He led a robust Portuguese force to back Emperor Galapagos in his clash against the formidable Ahmad ibn Ibrahim al-Ghazi, also known as Grang. This wasn't just a military tour, it was a pivotal defense of Ethiopia's Christian kingdom, the proclaimed guardian of the Ark. The quest for the Ark wasn't just a side hobby either. Figures like Prince Henry the Navigator and the Knightly Order of Christ were on a divine mission. They saw the Ark as a beacon of spiritual and political clout, integral to expanding Christianity and tightening bonds with the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, a valuable ally in a distant land. And where is this mysterious Ark now? Legend has it that it found a resting place first by Lake Tana and then was tucked away in the Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion in Axum, where it's said to reside to this day. 19. Monolithic churches of Lalibela. Back in the 12th century, something extraordinary took shape in the mountains of northern Ethiopia, something that still stirs the imagination today. The monolithic churches of Lalibela, 11 magnificent structures carved directly into volcanic rock, became not just architectural marvels, but spiritual symbols of a new Jerusalem. Built under the reign of King Lalibela, these churches were designed to serve Ethiopian Christians after Muslim conquests made pilgrimages to Jerusalem unsafe. According to legend, angels helped King Lalibela craft these incredible churches, including the iconic cross-shaped Bet Georgis, as a haven for believers. The church's intricate designs and sheer scale have left many wondering how such a feat was accomplished with the limited tools available at the time. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church has long been associated with the Ark of the Covenant, and it is said to rest in Axum. Some theories suggest that these churches are connected to the Ark, serving as sacred sites for worship and pilgrimage. And that wraps up today's video. What do you think about the discovery of the Ark of the Covenant? Could what's inside truly change the course of religion forever? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more fascinating content coming your way.